Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I have swatches for you from the August Hella Handmade Creations. So if you don't know what Hella Handmade Creations is, every month a bunch of different indie makers get together and they contribute one polish to the Hella Handmade Creations site. This site will be open the 14th to the 21st of every month, so this month it'll be August 14th until August 21st. Each maker does choose their own theme, so everybody has a theme very specific to their brand. This is kind of like a pre-order deal, so you make your order, the makers get all of the polishes together, they send them to the Hella Handmade Creations people in Hawaii, and then they distribute everything out to make a much better shipping deal than what you would get from ordering from everybody's site individually. In the description box below, I will link the Hella Handmade Creations site, their Instagram page, and their Facebook page. I will list all of the polishes, but every time I try to list every maker's sites and Instagram pages, or even just sites as of more recently, it tells me that my description's too long, so I can't link everybody down below. These polishes will only be exclusive to the Hella Handmade Creations site. They won't be available on the makers' sites, but it is a good representation of the brand themselves if it's something that you're interested in further exploring. So there are 28 polishes available this month. I have 20 of them, so I am missing about 8. Those are available on the site. They are listed there if you want to go check them out to see what I don't have to share with you, but I do have a good chunk to look at today. So 20 polishes, let's go ahead and get started. So first from 77, we have All. The inspiration behind this is the punk rock group All, created by the members of the group Descendants. It's described as a turquoise crelly with a mix of white and black glitters, topped with blue to purple to red shifty shimmer. This will retail for $12.50, and there's a cap of 75 bottles available. So if you don't know what I mean as far as the cap goes, some polishes are what's called capped, and that just means that there's only a very limited number of bottles available. So there's only 75 bottles of this available. Some polishes have no cap, meaning that they are just available until the pre-order closes. So this has a really good formula, completely opaque for me in 2 coats. Depending on your application, you may need to go in for 3. The glitter payoff on this is really nice. I didn't have to do any kind of fishing or holding the bottle upside down to get the glitters out, and they also distributed really nicely across the nail. The shimmer that's in here also stands out really nicely, considering everything that's going on in the bottle. It actually still shows up on the nail, and I really appreciate that. It is going to dry with a slight texture because of all the glitter that's in here. You might want 2 coats of a glossy top coat if you don't use a thicker glitter-eating glossy top coat to finish this off, and removal is going to be a little bit tricky because of all the glitter that's in there. I would recommend a peel-off base coat for this one specifically. But in my swatch photo, you're going to see 2 coats of All and a glossy top coat. So up next from Bee's Knees Lacquer, we have This Guy Gets It. This was inspired by Rick and Morty, and it's described as a pink to gold magnetic multichrome microflake polish with OG Unicorn P. It's priced at $14, and there is no cap. So this one did take 3 coats for me to be completely opaque. With my magnetic polishes, I do like the base to be completely opaque before I magnetize it, because it does pull from the rest of the polish, and it can potentially create bald spots. So I do like my magnetics to be entirely opaque before I magnetize them. So I definitely would recommend the full 3 coats on this one. But unlike a regular magnetic polish, it's the flakes in this that are magnetic, so it's not gonna bald as much as a regular magnetic would. And most of what's in here is the magnetic flakes. That's mostly what you're building up. So you still do want to get full opacity before magnetizing. Formula on this is really smooth and easy to apply. It took me 3 coats to build up to opacity, like I said. Nothing in here is going to dry textured, nothing in here is going to be difficult to remove. So in my swatch photo, you're going to see 3 coats of This Guy Gets It and a glossy top coat. So up next from Chirality, we have Mac. This was inspired by Mac's real name, Ronald McDonald, from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, and it's described as a violet jelly base filled to the brim with aqua blue shimmer and iridescent flakes that shift from a light purple to a blue. It'll retail for $11, and there is no cap. So formula on this is good. I didn't have any kind of running or pulling or staining or anything like that with this. It is more on the sheer side than I expected it to be. You do still want to catch that shimmer, and it does have those delicate flakes in there, so I do understand it being more sheer. but I definitely expected it to be probably about a 2-coater just because of how deep the color itself is. The flakes that are in here do stand out really nicely. This is one that would look beautiful matte or glossy. I only showed it to you glossy, I believe. Nothing in this polish is going to dry textured or be difficult to remove, so in my swatch photo you're going to see 3 coats of MAC and a glossy top coat. So up next from Colors by Llarowe we have Fat Bottom Girls. This was inspired by Freddie Mercury and it's described as a blackened base with a strong gold to green shift and a hint of blue and olive prismatic flakies. This will be $11 and there is no cap. So I was able to get this one opaque in 2 coats. It does have a really good, smooth, easy to work with formula, very opaque. What I really like about this one is since it's a blackened base, and I've said this a couple of times in a couple different videos, I love these kind of polishes. It's a blackened base and it's got that gold shimmer in it and it definitely brings out the olive hues that those 2 colors kind of create together. So I think that's so beautiful. It's such a fall color. It's really, really gorgeous on the nails. So I really like this color. Nothing in here is going to dry textured or be difficult to remove. Most of what's in here as far as the added elements are these tiny little silver holographic microflakes. So they lie smooth. It's not going to dry textured. It is going to dry on the dull side though, so you will want a glossy top coat for that reason, but it's not going to be hard to take off. So anyway, in my swatch photo, you're going to see 2 coats of Fat Bottom Girls and a glossy top coat. So up next from Gracefull Nail Polish, we have Orin. The inspiration behind this is DC, and it's described as a rich blue linear hollow with aurora shimmer that goes from a green to a blue to a purple. It'll retail for $12, and there's a cap of only 80 bottles available. So I really like Gracefull's linear hollow formulas. They're very opaque, very saturated, very rich in color. With like a breeze of an application. This goes on nice and smooth, very buttery. It did take 2 coats for me to be completely opaque, which most of the time her linear hollows are 1-coaters for me. But with the addition of this Aurora shimmer, your base color does have to be a little bit more opaque or you will lose that shimmer altogether. So I do understand this one having to be a little bit more on the sheer side. The shifty shimmer does stand out really nicely on the nail. This one is going to dry down on the dull side as well, so you will want a glossy top coat to finish this off. But nothing in here is going to dry textured or be difficult to remove, and I also wanted to note that I didn't have any kind of staining with this color, even though it is so pigmented. So in my swatch photo, you're going to see 2 coats of Orin and a glossy top coat. So up next from Heather's Hues, we have Bread Perv. The inspiration behind this is Bob's Burgers, and it's described as an iridescent base that shifts from red to gold to green, and it's filled with a red to copper to gold multi-chrome flakies, as well as gold hollow micro shreds. It'll retail for $14, and there is no cap. So I did show you what this looks like built up on its own. At 3 coats, I didn't achieve full opacity. I was able to still make out some nail line. That doesn't specifically bother me. It might bother somebody else, but what you're mostly building up, because the shimmer, it's strong and it's shifty, but it's not opaque, so most of what you're getting as far as coverage goes comes from those flakes, and they are pretty sparse in the bottle, so you won't achieve full opacity with this one on its own. If you don't like that, you would probably use this one primarily as a topper, which I also showed you just over a black cream. The formula on this though is really nice, very smooth and easy to apply, a little bit on the thinner side but not difficult to work with where I had any kind of running or pulling. These flakes lie nice and evenly across the nail with minimal manipulation, so I really appreciate that as well. This is going to dry mostly glossy and mostly smooth, so if you don't have time for a top coat, honestly with this one it's not that big of a deal. I would recommend just top coating your manicure to protect your manicure and keep your nails lasting as long as possible, but if that doesn't matter to you, I mean, you don't need one. So like I said, it's not going to dry textured and it's not going to be difficult to remove because this is made up of all shimmer and flakes, but the shimmer does kind of get a little bit messy as far as the removal process goes. So in my swatch photo, you're going to see 3 coats and then 1 coat over a black cream of Bread Perv, and I did use a glossy top coat because old habits die hard. So up next from Illyrian, we have Moonstone. The inspiration behind this is crystals and opals, and it's described as a milky baby blue tinted base with a teal to purple shimmer, a teal to blue to violet iridescent flake, and a teal to purple to pink ultrachrome chameleon flake. This will retail for $12.50, and there is no cap. So, this polish is the definition of everything that I love in indie polishes. A really good formula. I love this milky base, and milky is the perfect description for it because it's sheer, but it's buildable, and it's beautiful, and you get to see all of the added elements throughout it, and it's shifty, and it's just a standout. It's really, really gorgeous, and it's like a fall staple. This kind of shade is like a fall staple for me, so I am really, really excited to have this one. But like I said, smooth, easy to work with formula. These flakes, they lie nice and evenly across the nail. You don't have to do any kind of manipulation to get them out of the bottle or spread out evenly on your nail. It is going to dry on the dull side, so you will want a glossy top coat to finish this off, but it's not going to dry textured, and everything in here is a flake, so it's not going to be difficult to remove. But I can't get over how cohesive this is. There's so much going on in it, and every time you shift the bottle, you're getting a different area of teals or purples or blues or greens, all in a gray base, but it looks just cohesive. It looks like it works, but I am going to go on and on about this polish. So in my swatch photo, you're going to see 3 coats of Moonstone and a glossy top coat. So up next from Lilypad Lacquer, we have Where's the Kaboom? This was inspired by Marvin Martian from Looney Tunes, and it's described as a green to red to orange multichrome scattered hollow. It'll retail for $15.50, and there is no cap. So when I saw this one in the bottle, it might not look like it in this lighting. Obviously, I'm in a different room. I have different lighting. So it's not the most accurate in this lighting. It kind of looks more like turquoise. But when I look at it, I see a very ugly, pretty kind of murky, greeny yellow color, and I was so pumped. I was so pumped to get this on my nails with the hollow and everything. But it does build up to be more of a like rich kind of emerald green. The formula on this, again, is very smooth and easy to apply. I did end up doing 3 coats of this, but it does end up being like super shifty on the nail, and you do get a lot of hollow out with this one. It is going to dry on the dull side, so you will want a glossy top coat to finish this off, but nothing in here is going to dry super textured. It's not going to dry like super smooth either, but it's not going to dry super textured, and the difficulty as far as removal goes isn't bad either. The hollow that's in here is small enough that it's going to take a little bit of work to remove it, as far as it's not going to be as easy as a cream, but it's definitely not going to be as difficult as like a glitter packed polish either. So somewhere right there in the middle, leaning more on the side of easy. And I am getting way too detailed about that. But anyway, in my swatch photo, you're going to see 3 coats of Where's the Kaboom in a glossy top coat. So next from Lollipop Posse Lacquer, we have I Make Things Want Things. This was inspired by Desire of Neil Gaiman's Sandman, and it's described as a tinted holographic flaky base filled with red to gold to green shifting multichrome pigment and red to gold shifting ultrachrome chameleon flakies. This will retail for $13, and there is no cap. So this is another polish that I feel is just like a really, really beautiful fall staple color. It's got the coppery brown tinted base, and then the warmer colors of the ultrachrome chameleon flakies makes it super fall for me. And then the added hollow in here is just, I mean, everything is better with hollow sometimes, so just really, really gorgeous. This one also has a really good formula. It took 2 coats for me to be completely opaque. Depending on your application, if you're not as careful, you might need to go in for a 3rd coat of this. So this one is going to look really beautiful, both matte and glossy. I look for that in a polish, so whenever polishes have these flakes in them, if I can mattify them and get essentially 2 manicures out of a polish, I'm one happy camper, and this one looks beautiful both ways. It is going to dry with a slight texture because of all of the added elements that are in here, but nothing in here is going to be difficult to remove. So in my swatch photo, you're going to see 2 coats of I Make Things Want Things and a glossy top coat. Up next from LynB Designs, we have You're My Mariah Carey. The inspiration behind this is Schitt's Creek, and it's described as a lush green base with a blue to green to purple shifting shimmer, a green and purple tiny iridescent flake, and a hollow shimmer. This will retail for $13, and there are 90 bottles available. So I feel like LynB Designs has this formula down. The super pigmented base color with these tiny shifty iridescent micro flakes, it kind of gives it like a very subtle speckled look, if that makes any kind of sense. The formula on this is very smooth and easy to apply. I had no issues getting all of these tiny little flakes out on my nail. I had no issues spreading them out evenly across the nail. I had no issues with this whatsoever. No standing, running, or pulling or anything like that. It is a little bit on the thicker side. LynB Designs formulas do tend to be a little bit on the thicker side for me, but they're not difficult to work with. You just have to try to make sure to spread them out nice and evenly before they dry, because they do dry relatively quickly. This one is going to dry down dull but with no texture, so you will want a glossy top coat just to bring the full manicure to a plump finish, but nothing in here is going to be difficult to remove either. So in my swatch photo, you're going to see 2 coats of your My Mariah Carey and a glossy top coat. So up next from Miss Sparkles, we have Cinder. The inspiration behind this is Thai Beanie Babies, and is described as a turquoise green Crelly with aurora pigments, hollow sparkles, iridescent flakies, and hollow ultrachrome chameleon flakies. This will retail for $11 and there is no cap. So talk about a really, really beautiful polish. This is a standout. It's very gorgeous, very bright and vivid on your nails. You get a ton of these flakes out. You don't have to do anything special to do so, and it looks identical to. Overall, she did a really good job with this one. The formula, like I said, is smooth and easy to apply. I did get this opaque in 2 coats, and I think it's a pretty solid 2-coater, which is impressive to me considering everything that's going on in there. I do feel like it's a little bit too opaque to catch all of those iridescent flakies, but everything that's going on in here works so well together that I don't even miss them. This is another one that's going to dry on the dull side, so you will want a glossy top coat to finish this off, but it also looks really beautiful with a matte top coat. Nothing in here is going to dry textured, nothing in here is going to be difficult to remove, so in my swatch photo you are going to see 2 coats of Cinder in a glossy top coat. And baby is kicking all up in my ribs, so I might sound like I'm out of breath, because I am. So up next from My Indie Polish we have Sunspot. The inspiration behind this is My Little Pony, and it is simply described as a darkened orange holographic. It'll retail for $12 and there is no cap. So this is a super holographic polish. It's got, what I believe, I don't know for sure, mostly the holographic I think comes from what's called Spectraflare, which means that this holographic pigment is actually like incorporated into the pigmented base. So it's not one of those holographics that just sit inside the polish. It's actually like incorporated with the polish, if that makes any sense. So it does make it super holographic both in and outdoors. The formula on this is really good, completely opaque in 2 coats for me. Depending on your application and how picky you are, you might even be able to get away with this in just 1 coat. Being that it is super pigmented, I was kind of worried about staining, so I did use a base coat under my swatches for this one because I had a lot more swatching to do and I didn't want to walk around with stained nails. So bear that in mind, and if you wear this one, I would recommend just covering your bases and wearing your base coat. You will also want a top coat for this one because it does dry down on the dull side, and that top coat will also help the holographic stand out to its full potential. Nothing in here is going to dry textured, nothing in here is going to be difficult to remove, so in my swatch photo you're going to see 2 coats of Sunspot in a glossy top coat. So up next from Nail Hoot we have Captain Nutcracker. This was inspired by Disney's The Nutcracker in the Four Realms, and it's described as a gorgeous pinky red linear hollow with a stunning copper colored tone. It'll retail for $10.99 and there is no cap. So this is what I like to call kind of like a staple in a collection. I feel like, anyway, my kind of collection would be incomplete without a bunch of pink hollows. So I really like it. Very beautiful color. The copper tones that are in here do show very, very well both in the bottle and on the nail. Very impressed with this one. A good 2-coat formula, a very standard, like, need it in your collection kind of polish. Smooth, easy to work with formula. Like I said, completely opaque in 2 coats. I'm kind of repeating myself and forgetting what I've already mentioned. This one is going to dry with the slightest bit of texture and definitely on the dull side, so you will want a glossy top coat to finish this off, but nothing in here is going to be difficult to remove. And I can't wait to see where she goes with this Disney's Nutcracker in the Four Realms theme in the following months. So in my swatch photo, you're going to see 2 coats of Captain Nutcracker in a glossy top coat. So up next, from Necessary Evil, we have Whiskey Rye Knot. The inspiration for this is under the microscope, and it's described as a rusty reddish orange with a scattered hollow and purple, blue, pink, and green iridescent flakies. This will retail for $11 and there is no cap. So this has another good formula. It's a little bit on the thicker side, but with the amount of iridescent flakes that are in here, for some reason I feel iridescent flakes really thicken up a base to a polish. So with the amount that's in here and the amount that you get on your nails, it's much better than I even expected. You do want to try to work in thinner coats, let each coat dry individually before applying your next coat so these flakes have time to set in place. Otherwise, they can move around on your nails and never fully dry. This is one that's going to look beautiful glossy or matte. Glossy is going to help the hollow stand out, and the matte is going to really bring forward these iridescent flakes. Sometimes these little flakes can hang off of your nail though because there's so many in there. All you have to do is just like tap the edge of your nail and it'll either go back on, or you can give it an extra small little swipe to take it off. And I was shocked to see 2 oranges. I feel like that's not much of a color that you see often. That's not something I feel you see a lot of the times. So the Necessary Evil polish does have the added flakes, while the My Indie polish is a straight linear hollow. There is a huge difference between the 2 polishes, but they are similar enough that I did want to go ahead and mention that. This is going to dry with a slight texture, so you will want a glossy top coat to finish it off, but as it is all flakies, nothing in here is going to be difficult to remove. So in my swatch photo, you are going to see 2 coats of Whiskey Rye Knot and a glossy top coat. So up next, from Poetry Cowgirl, we have No Shoes, and as I say every single time, I love that she names them after country songs. The inspiration behind this is Kenny Chesney, and it's described as a buildable semi-sheer sandy colored shimmer packed with blue, green, and gold micro flakies, blue to green iridescent glitters, sky blue and turquoise hollow glitters, and a smattering of a black micro glitter. This will retail for $11 and there is no cap. So the base that this has, instead of being like a sandy color, I would definitely describe it as like a almost kind of gray neutral, which is a very original kind of base color to me. But it is super sheer, the base is, so what you're mostly building up is the added elements. The flakes and the glitters that are in here are what's going to give you your coverage. The formula is good. It's a little bit on the thicker side, but it's not difficult to work with. This is another polish that you do want to let dry fully in between coats, otherwise it can get a little bit goopy on your nail. So this is going to dry pretty textured. You will want 1, maybe 2 coats of a glossy top coat to finish this off, and it is going to take some serious elbow grease to remove this because of all the glitter that's in here. Really, really beautiful payoff though. So in my swatch photo, you're going to see 3 coats of No Shoes and a glossy top coat. So up next, from Quixotic, we have Life is Beautiful, but she has beautiful crossed off, so I'm not sure what else to call this. So I'm going to go ahead and call it Life is Beautiful. This is inspired by graffiti art, and it's described as a purple holographic polish with a pink to blue shift. It'll retail for $11 and there is no cap. So this one is a pretty sheer polish. It's buildable in 3 coats on its own, and you might be able to make out a little bit of nail line. I was happy on 3 coats. Depending on your application, you may or may not need a 4th coat, or may or may not still be able to see nail line after 3. This is one though that I think would look really, really beautiful built over a darker purple or a navy blue or a simple black cream. The formula is smooth, no running or pulling on this one, not too thick or too thin. The shimmer that's in here is super shifty on your nails, very, very beautiful in both indoor and outdoor lighting. Nothing in this one is going to dry textured or be difficult to remove, but it is going to dry down slightly dull, so you will want a glossy top coat for that reason. But in my swatch photo, you're going to see 3 coats of Life is Beautiful and a glossy top coat. So up next, from Rogue Lacquer, we have Erumpet. The inspiration behind this is Fantastic Beasts, and it's described as a dark gray scattered hollow with green to red shifting shimmer and micro gold hollow glitter. This will retail for $12, and there's a cap of 150 bottles available. So the formula in this is smooth and easy to work with. I didn't have any kind of running, pulling, or staining, not too thick, not too thin. Very smooth, buttery formula. I did have, and you might be able to see it in my swatch video, on my second coat, I did notice some unmixed pigment, a darker pigment, maybe a dark green or a black pigment. And I just, whenever I have like tiny little pigment balls like that, I keep messing with it until it kind of disintegrates, and then by my next coat you can't even tell that it was there in the first place, which you may or may not be able to see in my swatch video. But my swatch photos, you can tell that it doesn't look like anything. Like you wouldn't have even known it was a thing if I hadn't said it. But I know that you can see it in the swatch videos, so I thought I would mention it. The unmixed pigment in there anyway is easily covered up by the third coat. The shift that's in here is super strong on your nail. Very beautiful color all around. It's like a very me shade. It's getting me so ready for fall time. Rogue has such a good solid foundation formula that like I can never complain. This one is going to dry down on the dull side, so you will want a glossy top coat for that reason, but nothing in here is going to dry textured or be difficult to remove. So in my swatch photo, you are going to see 3 coats of Eurumpet in a glossy top coat. So up next from SHLEEE, we have Along Came a Radioactive Spider. This was inspired by Gwen Stacy, and it is her last installment in this theme. It's described as a black jelly polish with holographic glitter in pink and teal and iridescent flakies. This will retail for $13, and there are 100 bottles available. So being that this is a black base with these kind of brighter elements to it, the base on this has to be a little bit more sheer. It was much more opaque than I actually expected it to be, because most of the time with polishes that are like this, it's going to be one of those like super milky black bases, but this was more on the crelly side of black bases. You can still see all of the added elements, all of the individual flakies, all of the holographic. Everything that's in here stands out so beautifully, and it's just like an overall really, really gorgeous formula. This is going to look beautiful both matte and glossy. I would recommend a top coat either way because it does dry down dull and textured, so I would go ahead and say put on a top coat. If you want your polishes to be matte, I personally put a glossy top coat, quick dry, fast dry glossy top coat underneath the matte top coat, because otherwise I find I get bubbles with just a straight matte top coat. If anybody else gets that, I don't know, but I do. But this one looks beautiful both glossy and matte. So like I said, it is going to dry textured and dull, but nothing in here is going to be difficult to remove because everything is primarily made up of these flakes. So in my swatch photo, you're going to see 3 coats of Along Came a Radioactive Spider in a glossy top coat. So up next from Supernatural Lacquer, we have Flame Alchemist. This was inspired by Roy Mustang, the Flame Alchemist, and it's described as a dark blue base with a red to gold multi-chrome shift, a red to gold to green aurora shimmer, and a mix of warm toned multi-chrome chameleon flakies, color shifting flakies, and a scattered spectraflare hollow. This will retail for $12.75, and there's a cap of 200 bottles available. So I've only had a few polishes from Supernatural Lacquer in the past, and all of them have been absolutely outstanding, and this is no exception. This is a really gorgeous polish. It really gets me like jazzed for fall time. I've said that a few times in this video, but I think I'm just so ready to move on from like brights and summer colors, and I'm ready to get into these fall shades and not be judged for it. I love when makers also have these kind of like super dark inky blue bases to their multi-chromes as opposed to a black base. I think it makes the polish itself more interesting. It adds like an extra special element to it. The flakes that are in here are really beautiful. They lay so nice and evenly across the nail. They come out of the bottle so evenly, and it's a very quality polish. This is another one that's going to look really good, both glossy and matte, just depending on your personal preference. Nothing in here is going to dry textured, nothing in here is going to be difficult to remove. So in my swatch photo, you're going to see 3 coats of Flame Alchemist and a glossy top coat. And last but certainly not least, from Turtle Tootsies, we have Stupid Is as Stupid Does. This was inspired by Forrest Gump, and it's described as a dark gray scattered hollow with red to green shifting shimmer and micro gold hollow glitters. It'll retail for $11, and there's a cap of 150 bottles available. So this is another one that's like absolutely stunning on the nail. Like, I wasn't disappointed with anything from this month's Hella Handmade Creations. Honestly, everything was really good across the board, and this is no exception. This one is so beautiful. I feel like it's more of like a green-gray tinted base as opposed to a straight gray, and it's got this blue flash within it that's just like outstanding. This has a smooth formula. It does take 3 coats to build up to opacity, but it's a very satisfying 3 coats. Like, applying this polish is very satisfying. This one is definitely going to dry down dull, so you will want glossy top coat to finish this off. Nothing dries super textured. It doesn't dry like a cream, like a super smooth finish. So you will want top coat to finish that off as well, but it's not going to be like a glitter. And it's not going to be difficult to remove like a glitter either. But in my swatch photo, you're going to see 3 coats of Stupid Is as Stupid Does and a glossy top coat. And guys, that is it. We did 20 polishes from this month's Hella Handmade Creations. Thank you for sticking with me till the end. Let me know what you plan on picking up this month from the Hella Handmade Creations. Let me know what your favorite was from my video. Let me know what you think of the remaining 8 polishes if you've seen them, what you love, what you're thinking, what you gonna pick up. Let me know. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, subscribe if you'd like to see more from me, and I will talk to you again next time.